I just think we should be so proud of this community. We are striving for greatness. I'm seeing it happen. If you're out there with it, building relationships with it, looking in the eyes of it, that has kept me going. And I won't forget that.
Today in the studio, we have Juli Boeheim. Juli is a passionate philanthropist and co-founder of the Jim and Juli Boeheim Foundation, whose mission statement is to enrich the lives of kids in need within our central New York community, as well as provide support for eliminating cancer through research and advocacy. A wife and a mother first, Juli and her Southern hospitality are deeply involved in bettering the lives of others and the Syracuse community. Juli, very excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
So Juli, you do lots of different stuff, and we're going to get into it. You're a mother, you're a leader, you're a philanthropist. How do you juggle all of these different roles?
Well, I don't know how well I'm juggling, but I think, being a mom and being a wife is certainly at the top of my priority list. I think it's so important to do those two jobs well. And whatever you have left over, is for everything else. And, looking back, I think, wow, the timing of our championship, 2003, our three kids were just babies, really. Jimmy was 4 and the twins were 2.5. And, it was all kind of a blessing in disguise. It was craziness, our lives turned upside down. But when I look back on those days, I think, yeah, that was crazy. And I don't know how I did it. But you do things, you do what's given to you, and especially when they're blessings. And certainly having 3 kids in 18 months was a giant blessing that I'm still trying to catch up with today. But yeah, it's been, when the kids are younger, that's more demands. Now we're empty nesters, sort of, although we're the boys' home base. Buddy, when he's not in season, and Jimmy as well, playing in Germany. And so their rooms are still active in our house. So I don't really even think we're empty nesters, but the load is lighter, as far as motherhood goes, which allows me to do more in the community and, and even give Jim a little more of myself, because I do think motherhood just demands so much that you even forget your spouse sometimes, or he falls through the cracks. So, it's just those different phases of life. You do the best you can, and you do as much as you can do. And I don't always do it well, but I try to do as much as I can without dropping the ball too often. But I drop it, believe me, a lot.
This is always a silly question here, but why is family so important?
Wow. I think family is, we're the product of our family and our upbringing. And we all have flaws. None of us grew up perfectly. And, some better than others, and some have had tragic childhoods. And, you can see that, you can see that especially in a child trying to make it out of, a bad situation. So I think strong parenting, whether you're a single parent, an adoptive parent, a grandparent, a guardian, whatever that is just so valuable for a kid for a lifetime. And, I also know that, I grew up with a lot of stuff, just as everyone else has, and I could use it as a crutch, but what is that going to do, Instead of that, I just want to try to be better and not repeat some of the things that I didn't like growing up, and my parents. I had great parents, and I had a great upbringing, youngest of 6, but there's not any one of us can say, oh, well, no, I didn't experience anything bad as a child, or it wasn't, it's just not going to be perfection. So, but I think that all of those things show up in our life in one way or the other. And that's why I think it's just so important to raise our children the best we can so that then they can be the best adults that they can be.
For the Jim and Juli Boeheim Foundation, you are $8.7 million over the years. Why is it so important to have such a diverse group of people that this money is going to?
Yeah, well, I mean, we want to come alongside as many people as we can, as many programs, as many kids, and the fight against cancer. And what the community has done here, I mean, that's how much we've given out to date. We started this in 2010. It's mind-boggling. Jim and I still can't believe it, that it's been so successful, and that is strictly because of the support in the community. But the further the reach, the better. And boy, do we have some major needs, in this community that we own as a community. And so we just want to help and reach as many people as we can with these dollars, let people know they matter, they count, that we care, and hopefully make a big difference.
Yeah. Why is it so important to give to the community?
Well, they've given so much. I mean, for 47 years, Jim is, now that you're out of it, when you come out of something, you look back and you realize where you've been, so much of life is in hindsight. And I think he knew then, he knew when he walked in that dome, and he said, I tried not to look up because it was overwhelming when you have 35,000 people or 28,000 or 25,000, there to watch and expecting a great product, But he still can't believe it that people would come, park far away, walk in the sub-zero degree weather when it was on TV, just to be a part of that. He feels like he owes this community and our fan base so much. He is forever grateful and feels indebted to, but he also bleeds orange to a degree that I don't know anyone else can match. And he loves this community so much, and he's particularly drawn to the kids in need. The fight against cancer as well, but if he had to pick, and there's a kid and there's a program, he's going with that. We're able to do both, but his heart is with these kids and certainly in this community.
Looking back, did you ever think that you'd get to this point where you have given almost $9 million?
No, never. We started out with the American Cancer Society, and we started this foundation. I mean, this gala, this basketball is what it's called, getting ready to have our 25th this year. And, it was a leap of faith. We didn't know if 50 people would come the first year. And 650 people came through that door. We got home that night, and Jim was in tears saying, how are we? He literally was emotional, and I was too. It was overwhelming. And he said, how are we ever going to top this? Well, it just kept happening. And then we transitioned to our foundation. We took it to Turning Stone. We took it to Turning Stone the third year, and we didn't know if people would come, but they did. And then we transitioned from the American Cancer Society to our foundation, and we didn't know if people would stick with us, and they did. So it's just beyond, again, anything we could have imagined. And we're so grateful. I mean, it's been just so fun. And Jim is the one who wanted to start the foundation. We were comfy with the American Cancer Society. You have a national umbrella over you, Coaches versus Cancer. You're with your, peers. And it was just, that was fun. And, he kept saying, we don't really have that much control over the dollars. We think they come back here, but we don't hold them. We don't pass them out. And if we start a foundation, we can do that. And he kept pushing for it. We established it. Then we just kind of sat on it for a little while. And then the timing came. It was just absolutely perfect. And, I'm grateful that he stuck with it and with the idea and saw it through and pushed me, too, to own it and be a part of it. It was scary, it's kind of intimidating. I'm new at this stuff. People think we're pros, and I'm like, trust me, we knew nothing going into this event, to the gala anyway. He'd already started fundraising and done a bunch of stuff, but he taught me everything.
What were some of the things that you learned?
Well, you never lose money. Like, if you ask someone, you're not going to lose any money if they say no, and so don't shy away from asking. I'm the asker, though, in the couple. And he's the one who says, no, it is so hard. And I feel like people see me coming and they're like, oh, no, what does she want? And there's so many great causes that, hey, if you don't give to us, that's fine. As long as you're giving and doing something, that's all we That's all we could ask. So yeah, I mean, and I've learned that it takes everybody to make it work. So many hands. We're just a small piece of a big puzzle, and but I would see him get up really early, and he's a night owl. So to see him get up so early, this was in the very beginning. He would go in and speak to a group of 100 employees and raise, $500 for Coaches versus Cancer. Like, it didn't matter how much it was, just it was something. Every penny counts. And it wasn't ever anything that he required to have, like, well, I got to have this much if I'm going to go do that. I just saw him hit the ground and see every dollar, meant a lot in the fight against cancer. It means a lot in our community, to our kids. So, really watching that, I was just so, I was impressed, and I was also curious, because I really hadn't done any fundraising until I married him. So yeah, I mean, just watching those, and I think back about then and where we started, and now if he goes to speak somewhere, it's more than $500 usually that he gets, and we can throw that into the pot, So,
but every penny matters.
Yeah, every
Like,
penny,
it's
every
worth
penny
it.
counts,
Yeah.
and he would do anything for $1, and I would, I get that.
Growing up, I wanted an average person in Syracuse, I would say, average family household income. I always thought, like, why would people give? Like, you work so hard for money. Like, why are people giving to donations and foundations and just being involved? And I had a very selfish mentality on that. I'm fighting for this money, right? But as I'm growing and as I'm kind of understanding a little bit more about what I want to accomplish in life, I hear all the time from, like, successful people that there's no better feeling than giving. Does that resonate?
Oh yeah, it's so true. Whether that's dollars or your time, I'll commit to something, and life gets in the way, and then I'm saying, oh no, why did I do that? Like, I'm overwhelmed. I shouldn't have said yes. And then you get into the heat of the moment, and you are like, this is amazing. Never once have I ever come out of an event or out of a fundraiser or whatever it was, like that, volunteering or just being a part of something, and regretted it. Not once. It is a high. It is, it's like nothing else you can do. You can go to the gym and have a great workout and walk out of there going, oh, wow. No, this is like, you can go to the Dome and watch the best game of your life, walk out of there so happy. No, nothing really. This is just so different. And it is contagious. I mean, I feel like I'm hooked on it, but it can be intimidating, challenging. It can have its moments of, like, drudgery, and I really try to cut those off at the pass, because I know better, okay, well, that's a moment, and that's just one part of this that you don't like, or right now it's not fitting into your schedule, but it will, so just finding ways to give. And it doesn't have to always be dollars. I couldn't have imagined when I was, single and paycheck to paycheck, being able to donate, more than a tithe at church, so there's so many ways to give, so many ways to get involved.
And, we do a lot of work with United Way, and I think going back to, like, the every dollar counts kind of thing, it is amazing, just seeing some people, work at Wegmans. We did a big campaign for Wegmans and with United Way, and just having a cashier give $1.
Yeah.
But you see that compounded over and over again. But time, obviously, is sometimes even more valuable than anything else. So I just find that super interesting. Hard work, if it doesn't go anywhere, can lead to burnout. But hard work, when it actually goes somewhere and you're actually doing some good, is probably the best hard work that you can ever do in your life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially if you see the fruits of your labor, I mean, we all want to see the fruits of our labor. Sometimes we don't, and you just have to trust it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about our boys, and, Buddy is working so hard, and then you go to a game and you have a terrible game, that's so discouraging, but the fruits are still there, and they're going to surface. It's just, you have to look for those, for the fruits of your labor. But, yeah, I mean, I just really encourage everyone to get involved in any way. Find what you're passionate about. What has hit your life? Is it cancer? Is it dementia? Parkinson's? What is it that you've seen in your life and your family that maybe would be easy to tap into, to be passionate about, to go volunteer, get involved in some capacity. And even just a smile out there today. I mean, that's a great way of giving. We don't see enough of those. Kindness, acts of kindness. Let that be your beginning platform if you don't have one. That is all in us. We are all able to do that, no matter how bad our life is or whatever, we can still be kind.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So coming up soon, you already mentioned it, but the 25th, gotta check my notes here. 25th basketball gala.
Can't believe it.
For those who don't know, what is that?
Well, it is an incredible night. It's loosely black tie event at Turning Stone. It's just an unusual event. It's one of those that a lot of people want to go to. Wegmans buys 3 tables and they say people are still fighting to come. We could sell more or we could buy more and fill them, where usually you have a table and nobody wants, So I really I value that compliment so much because we've created something here that's fun that people want to come to. But it's a mix of everything. There's there's a VIP reception, a general reception with everybody, and then the program starts, and we do it in theater type seating in the event center. It's curtained off, so it doesn't matter where you sit. We're all in there together and enjoying the program. And then the curtains open, and we go to dinner and dancing, and just enjoy the rest of the night. So much fun. The team usually comes, and Adrian is wanting to bring the team this year, which we're very grateful for. Because if he didn't, it'd be our first one without the team. And people like to just either look at them or talk to them or get a picture. They make it special too. And we have Coach K coming this year from Duke, retired Duke coach, and Mike Tirico is our MC. And we have a live auction and a silent auction and just a lot of fun. It really is. We have about 700 and, well, hopefully 750 this year. We'll see. The most we've ever had is over 800. So it doesn't matter, in the past when Jim was coaching, it didn't matter what the season was. It wasn't, and I used to worry, oh no, the season's not going well. I wonder if anybody's going to want to come to the gala. It didn't affect it one bit.
Yeah, that's not why they're there.
No.
Yeah.
And, so that's just been, it's been amazing. It really has been. So we're really excited about the 25th, April 27th.
That's great. I think for a lot of people listening, don't really understand how much work goes into throwing these kinds of galas. Can you give us some insight into how much work goes into putting something like this on?
Yeah, it takes months. You're preparing, you're wrapping up the last one, taking notes, perfecting it a little bit, tweaking things a little bit. And then, come, October, November, we're starting to talk about it again. We have a presenting sponsor, PPS, Printing Promotional Solutions, that's been with us for, a long time. And they get the ball rolling for us. The minute they say, hey, we're back, we're on, we're with you. I mean, the juices start flowing, the momentum's going, and it's amazing how much that support, from Todd Baruch and Amy really gets us going. So they've spoiled us for 10 plus years now. But it takes it's definitely a group of us. It's a small group. We have it's basically 4 of us that plan this event.
Only 4 people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez, okay.
Yeah. Ashley Corsinini, who's peeking out over there, and Jill McBride, both, from our basketball office, and Jill's in the office now, and Ashley's married to our operations guy. So that helps, to be a part of that still. And then my co-chair, Peggy Carrick, helps. She and her husband, Jim, are co-chairs and have been for several years. So, it's a lot of details, from picking out the flowers and linens and menu, which we haven't done yet. But having Turning Stone Resort Casino really is such a gift for us. They do so much for us. I can't say enough about them and how easy they make it for us and how top notch, everything is there. And I know it's going to be great. I know the meals are all going to be perfect and the room is going to be gorgeous and the speakers are going to work and, everything's going to be perfect. So they carry a lot of the load for me, especially just taking the worry out of it. But, a lot of hands on deck, especially with this group we have.
Yeah. You said something that reminded me of the movie Elf. I'm going to really go sidetrack on this one. But, Santa delivers all his presents and, it went awful, but they got it done. And he gets back into the workshop and they celebrate. Everyone's like super excited. And then he's like, all right, 365 days again to Christmas. And then you get back to work.
Yeah.
That's what you reminded me of. You're like, all right, we finished it. Then we think about it. And then we just start working on the next one.
Yeah, I'm always thinking about it for sure. Yeah.
So, running something as large as this, how do you take actually an outside look and look back at what worked and what didn't and start making the next one better?
Yeah, well, the sooner you do it, the better because you're fresher. And, there's never been anything that has just been absolutely, that was a train wreck, with this thing. It's been more like, well, I think it'd be a little better if we do this, or we don't really need to do that, and we worked so hard at that, we can let that go. We stress over the flowers and the linens and the chairs and the lighting. And when you get into the room, it all kind of, the details, I just said it the other day to the girls, we're stressing over the details of these flowers, but overall we walk in and that room is just grand looking. It doesn't come down to one flower, So learning those things, where to relax and, where to really put the punch is important. The program, what works, are the videos too much? Are they too long? I think it's, did we need it? Sometimes we're so busy packing in too much into a program where, short and sweet and everything really, holding its own in it is the most important part. So, yeah, and everybody chiming in, the communication among the group, it's not just me, I need everybody. Hey, I want everybody's opinions. I want the feedback, anything you got from out there, let's put it on the table and look at it. So yeah, it's just been, the blueprint was laid out and we have kept it for the whole time now. Turning Stone proposed that we do a center stage and bring in even more people around that. And I was so tempted and, and they're just them going that extra mile to present this to us and offer it was so tempting. And then I said, we've done this way for so long. Let's just see it through, for the 25th. And if it's not broken, don't fix it. And we're sticking with that.
Do you get to actually enjoy the event?
Oh, wow. Well, I do once the program is over and it's towards the end of the night. Yes. And I'm on the dance floor and I shut the dance floor down.
Then you can finally breathe.
Yeah.
Say, okay.
Yeah.
Made it.
Yeah. And then there's a little pub there that they keep open privately for the tail end people. And so there's a great group that goes over there for, late night sliders. And trust me, I'm having sliders and fries in my dress and loving it. And that's one of my favorite parts of the night too. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It's such a high. And I always say it's like our wedding night with a lot of people that we don't know that well, a lot we do and a lot we don't. But it goes so fast and it's kind of a blur, like your wedding, reception. It's a lot like that. But it's just a magical night. It really is.
So you've done a lot of different things, worn a lot of different hats. What's some advice that you can give me? About anything.
Well, I think, give yourself a break. We are trying to multitask. Multitasking is a big thing right now. We're texting and computer, and I mean, we're
Can't even get away from it.
No, we're just constantly, we're going to bed doing that stuff. We're waking up in the night doing that stuff. I am, and I think trying to unplug, is hard. But I think it's so important to do it. Take a day off, take a Sabbath. And also give yourself a break. A lot of times I'll go to bed at night, especially when the kids were younger, going, wow, I blew that. I did that so bad. That dinner was the worst. We just do that. I do, and I think just shutting that down and giving yourself a break, is what we need to do more of, especially now in this technology day and age, and all the demands, and that we could work 24 hours a day now, because of that. So I just think it's super important. I know I'm better if I do it. And I can tell when I get to that point where it's like, okay, you're hitting the wall, and you're barking at everybody, especially in the house. We take it out on our families more than...
Take it out on the ones you love the most.
Yeah, it's so true. So I think just being aware of that, and also being in tune with yourself, and just allowing yourself to, take a break.
Yeah, something I definitely got to get better at.
Me too.
It's just so tough. Even right now, I'm like, oh, what's going on my phone, right?
Yeah.
Like email and
oh,
this.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm thinking about a lot too. Yeah, it doesn't stop.
Yeah. So we end every podcast with 3 questions. The first question I have for you is, do you have a favorite book or a book that you would recommend, and why?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Growing up, it was Charlotte's Web. Can you believe it? I just loved that book so much. I'll never forget it. Now I read, I don't take a lot of time to sit down and read a lot of books. I do have some Bible devotions that I love. I have the Bible app on my phone. Jesus Calling is a great, easy devotional book that I love to read daily. And I miss some days for sure, but that Bible app is really where I do most of my reading. That may not have been the answer you wanted, but it's honest. And
I think the Bible is a fine book to recommend.
So, yeah, I haven't, I'm embarrassed to say it's been a while since I've read a book, just for pleasure. If I get to the beach, I'm one of those that just puts the phone down and lays there. I'll get a magazine. I will bring books, but my success rate hasn't been very high. But I do read a lot on my phone, news and all that. But if I'm really reading something, it's usually biblical, devotional based.
Nice. So you've been doing this for quite some time. What keeps you passionate? What keeps you motivated?
Oh, wow. Probably the need. The need is, as long as the need's there, our drive and motivation should be there. And it's there in a critical way right now. The numbers that we own in this community are top in the country. Some neighborhoods are number 1, number 3 in the country for poverty. We have the number is tracking number is 973 youths that are couch surfing right now, homeless. The number is higher than that. That's just what we know. So, I could easily feel defeated, and many days I do, and many days I feel, are we making a difference? And we're just barely scratching the surface with the 9 million that's been given out. Barely scratching the surface. And I think that keeps me, you can get discouraged, but if you're out there with it and you're building relationships with it, and looking in the eyes of it, I have looked in the eyes of our foundation, and that has kept me going. And I won't forget that.
Last question. What excites you most about Central New York right now?
Oh, wow. I think sometimes being from the outside makes me appreciate things that maybe someone who's been born and raised here doesn't see or takes for granted. It's such a unique community. Our school systems are fantastic. I'm so happy about our public schools, and I'm from the South, Kentucky and Alabama. the school systems are not that strong, public schools. And I remember on the Nike trips, coaches trips, the wives would always say, hey, does your kid go to a private school? And I'm like, no, we're public. And I'm so proud of that, and it's a great public school. So I think we have so many treasures and gems here. The fundraising for we're a blue collar town, but there's so many times you look at the amount of fundraising and philanthropy going on in this town and it doesn't match. It's way more than you would ever imagine. When we did the Coaches versus Cancer, we were competing against the Philly schools and against Connecticut, and we won. This community won. We beat them every year. I mean, there's just something to be said for that. So the hearts to give, it's complicated. I think we're in a complicated market, and I think the poverty is really striking. And we haven't found anything yet, to fix it. And I wish I had an answer. It's going to take all of us, and it's going to take a lot of different things. And I believe that we will conquer it, because of the people in this community and the hearts in this community, and the programming in this community. We have a lot of great programming. We have some programming that isn't so great, but we have more programming, great programming than not. So, I just think we should be so proud of this community. We are striving for greatness. I'm seeing it happen, and I'm remaining hopeful, for sure.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Juli.
Yeah, thank you. That was great.
If you want to learn more about Juli and all she does in the community, be sure to visit boeheimfoundation.org. And be sure to follow In the Studio with 325 for more conversations with extraordinary people every Monday.